back to That's Entertainment, the weekly entertainment show where we look at all the interesting news from last week, this week. Ahead of its plans to launch an ad-funded service to consumers, there is speculation that the world's most popular streaming platform, Netflix, could be interested in acquiring Roku. As a report in The Drum put it, the streaming titan is turning to advertising to drive up revenue. Now, speculation within Roku is growing that Netflix could buy out the streaming device manufacturer to aid in its mission to build out an ad-supported business. Rumours have abounded in the recent weeks after Roku unexpectedly closed its trading window, the timeframe in which employees are allowed to trade vested company stock. The move is often made by companies ahead of the major news to prevent insider trading activity. Netflix buying Roku makes sense because it will give Netflix another revenue stream in a growing area of streaming, says Nicole Sangari, Vice President of the Entertainment On Demand World Panel Division at Kantar. We know that it's ad-supported TV that's now driving most of the growth in streaming. Beleaguered Netflix has had some cause to celebrate recently with the return of one of their biggest shows, breaking records. In its debut last month, Stranger Things Part 4 became the streamer's biggest ever premiere of an English-language series, hitting number 1 on the top 10 list in over 91 countries. According to Netflix's own numbers, the series was watched for over 287 million hours during the week of May 23rd to 30th. After only 3 days of availability. The following week saw Stranger Things break the record for the most viewed show in a week for an English-language Netflix series, with members streaming the show for 335 million hours. The show's impact on the popular culture zeitgeist and social media has seen licensed t-shirts selling out and given Kate Bush her first ever top 10 hit in the US, thanks to the show's prominently featuring a 1985 single, Running Up That Hill. The final 2 feature-length episodes in the season look to do just as well when they drop on July 1st. But not all pundits are impressed with Netflix's latest success story. As Digital TV Europe put it, it's one thing to praise the success of a particular IP and the ripples it has caused, but the situation facing Netflix right now is that it has very few truly bankable properties. Matthew Evenson, TV online and video research analyst at Omdia, argues, for a long time, the focus at Netflix was heavily on content that would bring in new subscribers. But with the subscriber growth slowing down, we're starting to see an increased focus on content that will help retain subscribers. Previously, that would have been popular licensed shows like Friends or The Office. But now Netflix no longer has those shows in particular markets. It needs to develop its own shows that inspire a similar level of commitment and fandom from its subscribers. That's why we're seeing multi-season renewals for the likes of Bridgerton, Virgin River, and Heartstopper, or an upfront 3-season commitment to Vikings Valhalla. If Netflix can identify the shows with that committed audience, it can help ensure that they keep their subscription by giving them more of what they like. When Netflix has a hit, it knows how to make the most of it, but those landmark series releases are largely few and far between, despite Netflix's overwhelmingly large TV and movie slate. Netflix has evidently become an event viewing platform, but in order to prevent churn, the streamer must work to ensure those events are not so spread out. Netflix is still the leader of the streaming pack, but that pack is closing in and the company has to pull something out of its hat if it wants to stop its rivals from catching up. There is some concern that Netflix's well-publicized desire to cut costs may have an impact on the number of high-profile titles the streamer will release in the coming months, with The Hollywood Reporter going behind Netflix's leaner movie mandate, bigger, fewer, and better. As it moves forward, Netflix wants to focus on making bigger movies, making better movies, and releasing fewer than it previously did at its gluttonous pace. Netflix co-chief Ted Sarandos told analysts on the company's April's earnings call that today we're releasing some of the most popular and watched shows in the world. Just over the last few months, things like Don't Look Up and Red Notice and Adam Project are examples of that. Animation is also under scrutiny, with a disciplined axe taken to projects that were on the bubble, and the frequency of releases also being diminished, although a new movie every week is still the goal, be it live action or animation. One thing many agree on is that the era of the expensive vanity projects at Netflix, whether it's the animation or live action like Martin Scorsese's Irishman, is likely over. This tendency to do anything to attract talent and giving them carte blanche is going away, says one person. But it seems that many of these criticisms and analyses apply specifically to Netflix in the US. At the recent Produced By conference, various key attendees questioned whether there will be a noticeable decline in the demand from the streamer. A&E Studios head Barry Josen noted that what may change is the demand for international productions. Squid Game, Money Heist, Babylon Berlin, Tehran have taught us how to watch shows that originate in other parts of the world, Josen said. Technology has been very helpful in that process. You literally push a button and can watch a show dubbed in English or the original with a language with subtitles. And there are many other languages. I think we're going to see even more of a surge around the exposure to shows that originated somewhere else in the world other than North America. That same week, Netflix released a teaser confirming plans for a second season of Squid Game, the dystopian sci-fi series from Korea that became its biggest global success, which is expected to return late 2023 or early 2024. And details of another Korean show were also confirmed with an adaptation of the video game franchise Dragon Age coming from an animation studio, Red Dog Culture House, to debut on Netflix this December. Plans for 8 new European animation projects were also announced recently, according to Television Business International, and the streamer is working on 4 new series and 4 new films. Netflix said that each of these titles has a distinct tone and language, but are universal in their storytelling and themes. So, they're now on a franchise hunt, and they're looking for that killer series outside of what they managed to achieve with Stranger Things. They're looking for the next Star Wars franchise, they're looking for the next Hobbit, something that has a continuation for the long term with many multiple storylines, spin-offs, as we're beginning to see with HBO's move into Game of Thrones. We're now beginning to see the expansion of franchises across the streaming world at almost movie-level production. Netflix's new animated films include the epic adventure Ember from Spain's Spar Studios, an untitled comedy heist from France's Superprod Animation, and 2 feature-themed UK titles, Timeless Films adaptation of Charles Dickens' classic with Scrooge, Christmas Carol, and Locksmith Animation's That's Christmas, based on the book series by Richard Curtis. Further reinforcing Netflix's commitment to the international content came with the revelation that across Europe, 30% of its content hails from the content in almost all major markets, as Deadline Hollywood reported. Ampere suggested that the increase in European content could either be seen as the benefits of the regulatory pressure on the US-based streamers to acquire and produce more directly from the European film and TV markets, or it could be seen as how the global players are more directly in competition for content that was previously the stronghold for single-market broadcasters. Large, diverse market opening up, new players in the field, a new Hollywood forming, and a global production business with a consumer that's now educated in how to watch films and TV shows with subtitles or dubbing. An interesting time ahead, for sure. That's all for this week. I'm off to Cine Europe tomorrow. I'll be there until Thursday. If you're in Barcelona, by all means, drop me a line. I'll be around if you want to catch up for a coffee or maybe even a beer. I think we all deserve one after the last 2 years. That's all for this week. Thanks very much. See you soon. Goodbye.